So you're going to let the portfolio manager ask questions, reveal their subjective criteria.
Because in an ideal world, you would know what their analogical mapping process is, and your presentation would mirror that, and then in theory, there would be no interruptions at all, but that never happens. So that's why you want to keep the presentation really short, because if you have a long presentation, they're either going to be polite and not interrupt you, but who's ever met a polite portfolio manager? So it's just better to have it short.
We had at Columbia, I guess it was a couple months ago, a name brand portfolio manager very nicely gave his time and came and listened to 9 student pitches. Short. The student pitches were designed to be short. They said, you have 5 minutes, that's it. We vetted them. Out of the 9 presentations, he interrupted 7 of them in the first 30 seconds. He was there to listen. And I asked him at the end, he interrupted 7 of the pitches in the first 30 seconds. How come? And he said, either a statement was made that I don't agree with, or I had no idea what they were talking about. He said, I was like, time out. What are you talking about? And it was that simple. And so he interrupted all of them. You're going to be interrupted early on, so why attempt anything more than a few minute presentation? I think you say, boss, give me 90 seconds. There's how much I think we can make. Fill that out. There's how much I think really the risk is that way. Third is, this is where the market I think is wrong. And fourth is what I think the catalyst looks like that. Go. And almost everybody can sit through that. I can do it. We've been doing this for a while.
And the punchline, if you needed to shorten it down even more, if you just talk about why it's mispriced, that'll get the hook in fast food.
And that's what he said. Really, the only one that matters is because you realize the moment you start to articulate what the market's missing, everything else is sort of implied. How much upside, where is the risk because of the issues, and the catalyst is self-evident. So focus on the third. All right, where do we go from here? All right, sort of beat this to death. We think they have to work together.
Oh, we don't have
What were you hoping for?
the book again.
No.
Contact information. No.
We'll put it up nice and pretty. Maybe not.
No, it's around.
Oh, it was? All right, yeah, click that. And there's the book.
Okay.
All right, done with the formal. Yes?
Can I ask you a question? I'll use a supermarket analogy for a second. You understand that there's something on the shelf already, so something's in the portfolio. Do you also have to add to your case somehow about the reasons why it should belong in the portfolio or replace something that they have, or it's more compelling than they already have?
Well,
Yeah,
nobody
this is
likes to hear that their kids are ugly. So you have to do that very carefully.
All right, so this is where I get in trouble. Just warning right now, go ahead and tweet this, because this will be the end of my career, but you won't be the first person to tweet at me saying this. Let's say you're in a relationship that's not going very well. What's the easiest way to get out of that relationship? Find someone new. Oh, sure. No, it's true. If you have something that's more interesting, it's easier to sell the idea. So you shake it over here and say, this is new and shiny. Wouldn't you rather have this? And they say, yes. And then you say, and I think we should sell that. And they're like, oh, yeah. So yes, I think that that's a very compelling part of it, is bring something that's better than something else. Go after the low-hanging fruit. You have something that's already performed. Everybody already knows it's sort of full price. You just don't want to sell it. You don't want to have cash. Give them something better than that. Say, hey, boss, why don't we sell a little bit of that and buy a little bit of this? And they're like, that's not a bad
But
idea.
actually, if it's so compelling, like you could just like wave the shiny new thing, and they'll figure out what to get rid of. So you don't even need to.
But yeah, I think that can be a very good strategy. All right, other questions? We like questions too, yes.
How do you deal with it, like when you disagree, right? Like, let's say you have a very good relationship with Alice again, but Alice thinks it's the best idea, and you think it's not a good idea. You just cannot convince each other. But you're not like that.
But see, I think we can go back to the slide. I think the slide is that they may be right that it's mispriced. And you may be right that it's mispriced, but I don't want to own it.
Yes.
Right? So that's that chart.
Oh, that's wait.
And just, keep going. Wait, no, there, yeah. So, yeah, we all agree, yeah, that's mispriced. Colombian bonds are mispriced. The market's got it wrong. I'm an equity person, I'm never going to own it. So I think you can get a way out and say, look, I don't disagree with you, it's probably mispriced. It's not going to fit my portfolio for these reasons. It doesn't fit this criteria or something. Now, most portfolio managers will say, hey, look, I think that's kind of interesting. If it's close, I'll buy a little position, we'll trade it a little bit. If it is truly mispriced, let's pick up a little bit of alpha from that. But you're just saying, look, I'm never going to own it in Sky. I did a good job, but now give me feedback. What's
And
missing?
a lot of those fights are going to happen in that yellow space because the analyst is going to say, but it meets all of your criteria and it's mispriced. So why aren't you buying it? And then, because if you have a portfolio manager with 30 or 40 years of experience, their schemas are so nuanced that they can't even articulate why they don't like an idea. Like, it just may be like, it just doesn't give me the warm fuzzies. And that means that they can't articulate that criteria. So that's where you're going to get a lot of fights.
And I think acknowledging that it's yellow. Just say, hey, listen, I agree with you. That's a great idea. I love it. Not going to fit in my portfolio. This is why. Maybe I like everything I have. Maybe I'm worried about the market, whatever it happens to be. But give them some feedback that said, and then I would ask as an analyst, what would have to change? Some say, I'm never going to own that one. I don't like that industry. I'm never going to own that management team. I think you're wrong about the long-term competitive advantage. Short-term, I think you're probably okay. Over time, I think it's a real concern. You keep saying that Amazon's not coming into business. I actually think they'll get there at some point. Right? You disagree on something. Well, just articulate what that is. But acknowledge that it is mispriced, perhaps.
Yeah, and then the thing is that just by admitting that there is a problem, so once the portfolio manager becomes aware of this, they may become more self-aware and say, yeah, he or she is right, it is mispriced, so why don't I accept the idea? And it just requires a lot more introspection. And that's where you start to make the subjective criteria more objective when you can communicate it and put more parameters on it.
Yes.
Can you speak to a different scenario that is not analyst and portfolio manager, but more generally, a person who's selling an idea to a prospective client?
Oh, you mean like a public company trying to?
No, I mean,
Yeah, no, like a
any kind of
salesperson.
situation, like a plumber is trying to
Oh,
get you
yeah.
to buy something,
yeah,
or a real estate broker.
We think, as I like to say, we have a lot of off-label applications for this structure.
This is security agnostic.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like-
item agnostic, and it comes back to those three things, understanding what the person really wants. Now, the problem with selling is that often the person doesn't really want it, they don't really want it, but I would still want them to get it, because you go into a store and they say, what don't you like about it? And you're just trying to get out of there. Actually, I'm not really in the market for jeans. You're right, these are great jeans, I just don't want jeans. I'm not in the market for jeans. Oh, these are great jeans, they look great. That becomes selling rather than, and this is more of a presentation. So if you say to the plumber, look, we've got the hot water blew up, we get the new one. And he said, look, you go two ways. High end does this, low end does this. And you say, you give me the things. As you know it, as you become more knowledgeable, you're going to start to understand your own criteria. You don't buy boilers that often, probably, thank God. And so your criteria becomes, but it comes down to this idea of what criteria you're looking at. The better you have, the better your sense are. If I was a salesperson calling on them, I would run dossiers on this portfolio manager likes it when I call Wednesday mornings. This portfolio manager wants to call every day. This is what they like. This is when they don't like. You're trying to get those criteria, and over time it gets more and more nuanced. So then when an idea comes along, you're like, oh, Jen, I'm calling Jen on that idea.
Yeah, we also, the way that we got this in chapter 10, 11, and 12 is that it's basically the way that human beings make decisions map to security analysis.
Yeah.
So it's, the concepts that we have are very generic, and we didn't make them up. This is like basic cognitive science 101.
201.
But we took other concepts and morphed it to security analysis. You can map it to anything.
Yes, sir.
How do you explain that some investors and some qualified investors are buying assets do not match the definition that I'm thinking of growth investment, momentum? The most recent is, we have some institutions that are buying Bitcoin right now, which is a completely stupid asset, sorry. But, how do you justify the fact that some people are are buying assets which have no intrinsic value, who are, have no,
Well, there's different criteria.
Yeah.
Don't get someone Bitcoin.
I'm teaching a class this term on digital currencies at Fordham, Thursday nights, 8 to 10. So when you said Bitcoin, I'm like, we could spend some time on Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I knew that would get it going.
So I'm happy to talk Bitcoin if you want, but I won't. I have to in 2, what day is tonight? In 2 nights, I have to, my first lecture, we were talking about Bitcoin. But back to, Paul said, I mean, there's 2 ways to answer the question, right? One is, Paul says, my investment criteria is that I want momentum, that's my investment criteria. If my investment criteria is I want high growth, my investment criteria is high growth, right? So don't project this sort of notion that that's a bad investment strategy. Now, if you don't believe in that, you work in an organization, don't believe it, if you have the opportunity to go to a better place, go. Jobs are hard to find. But your portfolio manager, back to Janet's question to some degree, your portfolio manager wants high growth momentum, give that to them. That's what they want. Now, when we set up that first part of the book, when we said intrinsic value, I did say we're old school, we're fundamentalists. We believe that we want to find things that have a value. Value is different than the price, and then we're trying to exploit that difference. That's a setup for us. But from a pitching perspective, the investment criteria is the investment criteria. And Bitcoin's more complicated than you think. All right, go ahead. Yes?
For me.
Yes.
Do you have any suggestions for people who are pitching ideas at an interview versus with a PM that you will?
Yeah, we do. We wrote this book really for business school students. So we
So
watch
chapter 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah, so Paul always says, chapter 11, 12. I'll give you part of the answer. And then you can go reference the book. You're never going to understand their subjective criteria. Number 2 is that it's unlikely you're going to have an idea that matches the objective criteria of everywhere you're interviewing unless you're only interviewing one place. So now we have a problem, right? We don't have the objective criteria in our idea, and I can't have 10 of them. They're too hard to do. You're a student, it's like very complicated. I'm never going to understand the subjective criteria until I start to work with it. So in a sense, it's off of that. So you go in and say, hey, this probably doesn't match your objective criteria. I almost am sure it's not going to meet your subjective criteria, but let me show you how I thought about the process. Here are the 4 questions. This is how much I think somebody can make. This is where I think the risk is, and the work I did to verify that. This is what I think the market's missing, and oh, by the way, we think this is what the catalyst is. And you will pass that interview with flying colors.
And we've had students that have tried that in the wild, and if the,
It worked pretty well, actually.
yeah.
And that's
So
everything.
in that sense, you're not trying to get them to adopt, certainly not trying to get them to scale. You're not really getting them to listen in the sense of pitching an idea for their fun. You're trying to get them to listen in the moment of an interview. So we just abstract it one more
Yeah,
layer.
what you're trying to do is you're trying to communicate your thought process and have them be able to map, like saying, okay, they did it with this company, but if I just change the criteria, she could do it with any company.
And I'm just, at least for a little while, I think going in and saying, I was taught, or the way I think about it is, guess what? Upside, downside, why the market's wrong, and catalyst. I'm going to answer those 4 questions. I promise you're going to distinguish yourself from 98% of everybody else that's going to be interviewing. That alone, they'll be like, very good.
But
check
also,
that out.
in an interview, the fact that you say that this doesn't meet your objective criteria, that will disarm them. Because otherwise, all that they're going to be thinking as they go through is, I don't like the idea, I don't like the idea.
Yeah.
So you really, in an interview situation, you really need to disarm them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
The best CIOs I've ever worked for could not articulate, as you have mentioned. What is your position with respect to AI and whether this founder-led industry could ever be reduced to
Can't talk about this.
a box that, is it, you could see the wheels turning, but they would say something akin to, I can feel the answer.
Right.
But that's the key, that's the key. You're here from my field.
Is man and machine is better than man or machine? And you can say.
No, I just think that, all right.
Well, if you have man and machine, it really
Or
is
person.
AI serving the filtering function of an analyst. Is an analyst in the end anything other than somebody who produces the option set, right?
I think so. I think you have to be very careful though, because
People have been using screens for years.
yeah, the idea is pattern recognition. Clearly, with machine learning and a few other things, AI is getting to the point where it's very good at pattern recognition and multi-nuance pattern recognition. So we give it that. the question you have is, how is pricing set in the market? And pricing is set by, we think, wisdom of the crowds. We go through it in the book. We didn't talk about it today. The wisdom of the crowds. We're a little bit of ways away from AI being able to solve that problem. That's not a trivial problem to do. However, advanced screen, pattern recognition, nuance, I think that AI can be potentially very helpful in that. But I think it's just evolution of screening-ish and identification, seeing things you might not have seen. Natural language processing I think is really interesting. Read a bunch of Q's and K's and say, hey, wait a minute, machines and patterns there. But when I started in the business, the first person that could get to the fax machine had an analytical informational advantage, right? It's changed a bit. The fax machine, don't worry about it. Read about it. 8-track fax machine, sort of thing. So I'm less worried about that. I'm very worried the market's gotten incredibly competitive because people are really smart and work really hard. But I think that's a factor. But we agree more on the machine, man and machine, women and machine. Other questions? Okay. Yes, please. How's our tape going?
It seems to be working. You're all in frame.
All right,
Small,
she's a
so-
volunteer helping with the taping.